Hello, hello, Leo. Welcome to your March 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Leo. And go ahead and tune in. If there's anything you want to have come up today, just go ahead and set your intention. Focus on any body sensations you have coming up. Just notice what you're dealing with. And hello and welcome. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. And this month I decided to go with like an abundance and manifestation type theme with some other general information. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And I know that everyone like lost their minds. They were so excited when I did the speed up shuffling. So I'm sticking with that again this month, and then we will get into the reading. Okay, so the truth bomb for you this month is passionately protest mediocrity. Are you really living up to your full potential? Like, that is one question that is worth asking yourself this month, because stagnation really is where people start to get really unhappy. Even if you're going through motions and ebbs and flows of things having dips and then peaks, that is so much better than stagnation, honestly, because you're working towards something and you're bursting through layers and making progress. So your actions are how you protest mediocrity. It's simply through working on yourself, pursuing things that are important to you, and committing yourself to projects, ideas, and relationships that are important. So let's see. And then we also have opportunity. So opportunity is coming through, whether that be romantic, professional. It just looks like there are opportunities for you. So the more you can orient yourself towards those, you're going to be in better shape for the long term. So enjoy this however it manifests for you. And I am excited to see how this pops up for people, because this is a nice card to have. The animal for you is fish. All right, we have a lot of I will let you know right now, the Pisces energy from the readings that I've done so far, and I'm over halfway done, it's been really potent. And so be really gentle with yourself, especially if you're feeling moody, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling like a space cadet. Make sure you're just taking extra good care of yourself this month, and be willing to sit with the emotions that make an appearance, because that is going to really make things a lot easier. I'm just getting from this that you want to double or triple down on self-care, because it's just a sensitive time. Like, collectively, when the sun moves into Pisces and throughout the majority of March, it's sensitive. So just take really good care of yourself when you're turning inward. And then the word of the month for you is magic. Invite spirit's intervention. Pay attention to synchronicity. Invoke your will and your willingness. I think you can rely on spiritual tools a little bit more this month, or asking for guidance, praying, setting intentions, manifestation. That's going to be really important for you this month. So don't shy away. If you have a spiritual tool, use it this month. The central energy for you in March is Three of Swords, grief, heartbreak, breakthroughs. This is all that emotional stuff coming up to the surface. If you are grieving a job, grieving a relationship, grieving a family member, grieving, even future plans can be something that we have to grieve. So don't expect this as like death and tragedy surrounding your life. It's not like that at all. This is a natural death and rebirth cycle that we all have to go through, and our emotional bodies go through this often. And so your process is just about allowing these things to come to the surface, because they want to be healed. That's why all of it is coming up. Let me see what the crossing energy is for you. We have the Ace of Swords, so it's going to really shift your perspective. It's going to shift the way you think about things. The healing is really powerful in the sense that it's going to be like a breath of fresh air. Not when you're sitting in the mud, not when you're, you know, in the middle of doing hard work and everyone is like, oh God, I have to deal with this again. But in reality, it never stops. Like, this is just, your life is going to be filled with ups and downs, peaks and valleys, good days and bad days. That's what makes it life. And in order to have the good days, you have to understand what bad days are. In order to feel like the best version of yourself, you have to move away from that sometimes. And you have to process and release all of the gunk that's sitting there. So you kind of, the Ace of Swords is like that fresh rebirth. I've let go of all of those things that may have been holding me back in the past, and now I can move forward with clarity and integrity in the direction that I'm going. This is a powerful month, not exactly comfortable, and that's something that I think has been true for a lot of signs. So don't take it as like, you know, a personal attack. It's just kind of 'tis the season. Okay. And what you have shifting out is the Nine of Cups. So I'm actually getting that this is really superficial. I think you may have been like playing it cool or wanting to ignore things and sweep things under the rug. Because the thing with the Nine of Cups is this can be overly idyllic. And that is dangerous, right? Like if you're too far, if your head is too far in the clouds, that is also not a good thing. The same way, if you're only focusing on the negative, that's not a good thing either. The ideal is to strike a balance in between being realistic and also being an optimist however you can while processing emotions. That's a lot of stuff to do and it takes practice. So I think that's why you have Nine of Cups, then boom, Three of Swords, because it's like this is like, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. And then when that stops working, you're going to find that all of the stuff you've been sweeping under the rug is what starts to come to the surface. And once you break through that, then you get to experience the relief. So let me see what is in the oncoming energy. We have the Five of Pentacles. This is like where you're actually doing a lot of work. I'm going to clarify this one. Don't let it scare you. I'm not reading it as like, the word tenderness is coming up with this. It's like being gentle and tender with yourself. This is also a great time to reach out to people that care about you, get support wherever you can. And I think it's just because you're doing a lot of work, or maybe you like stepped away from doing work, or you were trying to ignore it and now you're kind of coming back online. Or it's like you leveled up and you were sitting at that plateau and now you're leveling up again. Because this, I will tell you right now, the Three of Swords is the only way you can get through that. And then to clarify the Five of Pentacles, we have the Four of Cups. Okay, so you might be in a period where you feel like you are more prone to isolation or not wanting to be around a whole bunch of people, or just withdrawing a little bit more. But that's not necessarily helpful. I think that actually leaning on your support system is going to be a better avenue for you in March, or as you're working through this. So don't forget, there is always somebody available. Whether you know it or not, whether it's somebody that you think of right now, or it could be somebody that you don't know yet. But this is just about receiving what is good, what is working, what is available to you. And just, this is like actually doing the work and processing. So you have a lot of stuff to work with. It's just about whether or not you actually decide to do it. And this is something where this could be like a period of, 4 or 5 days, or it could be 6 months. It just depends on whether or not you shove it into a closet and try to ignore it, or if you actually acknowledge whatever it is that you're going through. That is what makes the difference between the amount of time that you spend doing this. So I would say just to be extra extra gentle, and remember to use your spiritual tools however possible, because when we're processing our emotions, it can be really fatiguing, it can be really exhausting, and that's how, you know, when you can't take a whole bunch of action, when you don't have the energy to do that, that's when you want to rely on spirituality, because action is the quickest change maker, but spiritual practice is what brings the most spiritual relief. So you want to use those while you're doing the emotional processing and while you're doing some healing. I think that March is going to be a really significant month for you. And it's all temporary, so don't allow yourself, oh my God, catastrophe. You know, that's not how I read. Let's see what's going on in the environment. This is going to be really telling as well. Like, what is happening in the external? We have temperance. So you're actually coming into greater balance within yourself. And you see, I like this card here because it's showing there's nothing actually going on in the external that is causing the Three of Swords. There's nothing that's pushing it down on you or bearing any weight that's pushing you into the Five of Pentacles. This is saying that you're cleansing yourself in March. It's kind of like, think about when you have a really, really intense crying session, how cathartic it can be. It can just like wipe away anything that was sitting in your body, and it can bring that breath of relief and just clear things up for you. So that's what March is about. It's like, you know, you've been walking through this astral year, and we're about to start a new one, you know, once we hit Aries season, and this is the time to kind of consolidate all of those lessons and come into greater balance within yourself, within your environment, within your relationships. And I think you're able to do that as you start processing anything that's been stagnant inside the body. Now, what we have, advice for your manifestation. So whatever you're wanting, right? So it could be money, it could be a partner, it could be professional success, whatever you're looking for. The advice is the Fool. So do something you've never done before. Doing things the way you've done them in the past is not going to get you what you want. And it really is that principle of, if you want something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something you've never done before. And if you're doing the same thing and wondering why you're getting the same result, don't be surprised by that outcome. The Fool is saying you want to make moves and potentially jump into uncharted territory in order to get to all the good stuff. And that's how you ultimately achieve the manifestations. Unfortunately, sitting on a pillow and meditating is not going to bring you your manifestations. It does require you to take risks and pushing yourself to do things that carry you outside of your comfort zone. And that's how you're going to get to the other side. I will say, make sure you are not overworking yourself. I know that a lot of people can use this as like an avenue to not do the emotional work and just instead overload their schedule. That's not what needs to be done here. The same thing if you're manifesting healing, but you're numbing yourself with or if like you're addicted to stress, or if you're addicted to something and you numb yourself through that activity, you're not actually doing anything different. You're just trying to put a Band-Aid over a wound that really requires some stitches. So it's kind of like, beware. That's the one thing that I would say be wary of. Just check your behavior. Like, what is your real motive? Is it to numb yourself, or is it to get to that next place and do that thing you've never done before and challenge yourself and grow and get uncomfortable? So that is what needs to be considered. And don't forget, the Fool doesn't mean you can't rest either. If resting is something you've never done before, if that is uncomfortable for you, that might be a part of the equation. Now, what's growing? What is growing for Leo? Six of Swords. I forget who else got this card, but it's like all of the progress and all of the manifestations and all the things you've been wanting, you're moving in that direction in March. But the thing with this card is that you're not at dry land yet. So there's still work to do. That's why the Five of Pentacles came up. March from what I've seen, every other sign, this is preparing you for Aries season and heading into April when we have the seasonal change happening at the end of the month. The energy is going to shift massively by the end of March. We'll see that more in the timeline, but just understand that this is a longer term project. It's not something that gets overnight results, especially when you're doing emotional work, which is most of the people who are gravitating towards my channel. So just understand that you're heading in the right direction and you are moving towards dry land. It's just that you're not quite there yet in March. So I would say, float to the surface, don't do anything like throw in the towel or chalk up a sensitive season to your life falling apart. That's not the case. It's just that you need to see these things through first. And that's a big thing that I notice in Pisces season, is that it would be very easy to throw in the towel. For a lot of people, it would be very easy to give up, or to, the sensitivity is just so intense that it might make you like shy away from moving forward. So it's just give yourself a little bit of a break, cut yourself some slack. Then we have what is abundant for Leo in March. Two of Pentacles. Let me clarify this, because it's like abundant decisions. Well, that doesn't really do me any good. So what are the decisions about? What's going on with the Two of Pentacles? The Hierophant. So it's kind of like you have decisions to make. Do you want to lean into being disciplined and actually doing the work? Or do you want to keep doing things the way you've done them? Because remember, behavior is so hard to change. It just is. Like, it's hard to change. It's hard to adjust for ourselves. And so you have to constantly remind yourself as you're walking through the month of March, the abundance is coming through an opportunity to set healthy boundaries for yourself, as well as either move in a direction that is in greater alignment with yourself or out of alignment with yourself. Moving out of alignment with yourself, we all do. We all do it sometimes. So don't expect perfection there, especially if you're just starting. But if you have the awareness, you know what's going on, you know the behavior you're trying to change, you know the impact that you want to have on your life. And so constantly look at every single move you make as an opportunity to experience deeper healing, get greater rest, refill your tank, move in a direction that feels good to you, that is helping you to ascend in a direction that is ultimately going to contribute to long-term success and fulfillment. And as you do that, you're going to the picture is going to be painted of what you're working through, what you're doing, what you're making happen, and how things are progressing. So overall, this is like a highly progressive month. It's just that in order to level up, you have to get uncomfortable. And that's where you'll face your insecurities. You'll face the things that you find challenging. You're going to face all of that uncomfortable stuff that has been sitting under a rug. And that is where you experience the most growth and the most healing and the most success. Let's move into the timeline. As you guys know, we have the first quarter. So this is going to be where you start off March. Second, third, and fourth quarter, that'll be where you end. It's fluid, so it's not a rigid week, but they're about that amount of time. Where you start off March, we have the Nine of Pentacles, enjoying the fruits of your labor. I think you've been working really hard and making moves, and so you get to see the benefit of that at the beginning of the month. It's kind of like, okay, I'm seeing some progress, I'm seeing some things happen, I'm seeing some things shift, and that is really worth celebrating at the beginning of the month. Card number 2, or quarter 2, Seven of Wands. This is where it's like, be careful to not overexert yourself, because you might get frustrated with like, I'm doing all this work and I'm spinning my wheels in the mud. And that is where I would just say, slow down. Like, if there's one thing that you can do for yourself in the second quarter, it's like, slow down and pace yourself, because just burning yourself out is not going to serve you. It's simply not. So just be patient, be kind with yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. That's a dangerous game. If someone's in a different position, don't compare yourself to that. And just continue moving through at a pace that works for you, but do not force during the second quarter. Third quarter, we have Temperance, so same card that we had right here, starting to see things flow a little bit better. So this is where it's kind of like, okay, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling strong, I think, you know, we're moving in the right direction, and then this is where you get that friction piece. This is where I'm seeing the most emotional intensity is probably going to be right here, from what I'm reading. And then you're able to see the balance, seeing things flow and move forward and everything like that. And then the fourth quarter, so wrapping up the month, we have the Fool. So really ready to start fresh. Like I said at the very beginning, this is a cleansing month. Like, this is where you're wiping the slate clean. You're clearing out all the bugs, getting ready for that Aries season, which is right here. This fourth quarter is where you have that final push, okay, now it's go time. And it's just about tenderly taking care of yourself in the interim throughout any emotional processing that you're doing. Because, you know, if you're conscious, if you're awake, if you're interested in improving your life, you're going to be on that path already. So it's just about, you know, holding space for yourself and seeking support. Like I said, with the Five of Pentacles, you want somebody there with you. Like, you want somebody's hand to hold, essentially. Even if that's scary and uncomfortable, that's really like the secret to healing, is through that connection piece. So by the end of the month, you really have hit, you know, the fresh start. Things are moving forward, and you know, just moving in a direction that you dictate. Okay, now we're going to do a 3-card pick. So you guys can pick a card. You can ask yourself card 1, 2, or 3. You can ask a question. You can ask for guidance. The sky is the limit. Card number 1, we have the 10 of Pentacles, so foundation being vital. This is any time this month you want to think long term, think big picture. If you're having a bad day, zoom out. If you are struggling to make a decision, think about in 10 years, what direction do you want to go in? And that's the perspective you can take when you're thinking about what decisions to make. And the more forward thinking you are, the better set up for success you're going to be. Then card number 2, we ignore the reversal. You have the 9 of Cups, make a wish. Okay, this is the wishes fulfilled card, dreams coming true, things are working out for you. And I think that there's more that's going really well than is going really poorly. And that's something to keep in mind, because if you're in the middle of an emotional purge, or if you have a lot of feelings that are coming to the surface, or if you are really sensitive, it can be scary to even acknowledge the good things that are in your life, because maybe there's a fear of losing them. Maybe there's a fear that it's still not good enough, or you're not going to get out of some other circumstance that's on your mind. But remember that things are working out and things are manifesting for you, and that there's always avenues to choose from. You're never trapped. You're never locked into anything. It's a big world with lots of solutions. And then card number 3, we have the 2 of Wands. So allowing things to come into your space, kind of holding the doors open for that manifestation, like without putting pressure on it, just inviting good things into your space. That's the advice here, is moving away from pushing, moving away from forcing, and just saying, okay, here is this blank space that I want to have manifest with blah, blah, blah. And that's the attitude that you're taking with this. And this is also like like I said, moving away from force, but with that, setting your specific sights on exactly what you want to have come up in that space. So don't shy away from specifics and getting into the nitty-gritty details of what it is that you're looking to cultivate. You know, write it all out, put it on paper, get really clear on it. All right, my Leo friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I absolutely appreciate you more than you could possibly know. And until next time, have a lovely rest of March. I wish you nothing but the best. If you want to work with me, don't forget to head over to onyxhealing.com. You can check out the description box for all of my services. And if you are not already following me on Instagram, go do that. It's at Onyx Healing. All of my social media is Onyx Healing. And if you want monthly love readings. If you're interested in monthly love readings that are sign specific, big ones like this, go to my Patreon. Link is in the description box as well. And I also do weekly sign specific readings for the smallest tier, if you're interested in that. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and telling all of your friends. And I will see you all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.